Let me see here. Shirley says, I have a question about interviews. Does every company interview 3 times? No. So I've been at companies that interview once, twice, up to 5 times. The most I've been interviewed is 5 times. Most of them, I would say, many, I'm not most, but many of them is at least twice, usually 3. So speaking on the one that I got interviewed once, let me see. The ones I'm interviewed once are usually shorter jobs. They're like usually like a person will contact me on email and say, hey, I got this position for you. Do you want to do it? And it's usually a very small organization or a person, just a person who has this job that they want you to do, and they're like a one-man shop. It's like, because they don't have time to do interviews. That stuff takes a lot of time. So they just want to get to the point. And they saw your resume. They saw your stuff on YouTube or internet or whatever. And now they just want to talk to you real quick to see if you want to do it and if you're a good fit. And it's a very quick thing. It's like email, phone call, maybe a video session. Boom, you're hired. You know, that's one interview. If it's 2 interviews, it's usually a larger sized entity, usually a larger size organization, but not huge. And it's usually like a screener. So the company's large enough to hire a screener. The screener is just going through a list of people and calling. And then they find you do your interview, and they're like, okay, well, I like the interview. I'm going to send you to the manager. Or sometimes the manager is the first person. It just depends. But usually it's a manager and a technical person. Let's say the technical person, they like you. They say, okay, look, I like this interview. I'm going to schedule you with the manager, and then that's it. You go to the manager, and then they say yay or nay, right? So usually a medium-sized company. 3 interviews is usually a larger company, and usually it's a screener. Like this person screens out people. They're not usually super technical. They're just going by keywords, right? And that's why it's very important to have keywords in your resume. They're just going off keywords. They don't even know what the keywords mean, and they're looking. And sometimes it's a lot of people from India, sometimes from other countries. There's been sometimes when it's from the company, and then they have the HR person doing the screening, and they don't know your job. All they know is keywords, and they want to know, okay, have you done this for 3 years? Okay, yes, IT. Do you have a CISSP? Okay, he has a CISSP. Do you have a security clearance? Okay, you fit the qualifications. I like your resume. I'm going to send it to this company, to my client, or to the technical guy. He's going to call you at whatever time you want. You schedule the meeting. Boom. They call you at that time. You know, don't be late. Make sure everything works properly. They call you, and then you're talking to either the manager or the technical person, right? And again, it's a manager that's going to evaluate whether you can do the job, like whether you are available. That's really their questions, because they're not usually super technical. They want to know, will you take this salary? Can you move to Virginia? Can you work remotely? It's like a whole bunch of, are you willing to do these things? And then when you get to the technical person, this person's going to know, can you actually do the job? Do you have the skill set to do this job? They're not going to care if you're a CISSP or if you're, and they don't care about any of that. They just want to know, can you do it? Then this is the person that is going to ask you to type in command lines, or they're going to ask you very technical port questions, or they're going to give you scenarios and things like that. They're going to ask you very specific questions to that job. So, yeah, it depends on the size of the organizations, how many interviews you get, and then it depends on the resources, and it depends on how important the job is. That's another big one. If it's the more important the position is, the more interviews you're going to have. And those are the ones that I have 5, because it's so important that they'll have a board that will sit there and ask you a bunch of questions. A board of 3 or 4 people just boom, 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 asking you all these questions. And those positions are like architect jobs, like where you're looking at the technical aspects of the entire organization, or director jobs, or high-level manager jobs, or those will be like crazy amount of interviews. So I hope that answers your question.